Hello, and welcome to another episode of Fanboy Unleashed. I am your host, Mr. First Town, aka Sam, and I am here with Big Mike from Man Cave Media LLC. He's got under there. How you doing today, Mike?
Good. How about yourself, my man? Thanks. Hey, I
Oh,
appreciate you for having me on here, man.
hey, man, I appreciate it. So obviously, by looking back there, you are some sort of fan of several teams. But we'll focus on the NFL one for right now because that's all I know. So I'll stick with it, even though the great Eddie George did come from the Ohio State. So and my head coach came from the Ohio State. So there, the dynasty is building. Anyway, so before we start, let's see here. Is there something that maybe you don't bring out in the open that you want to do that might be frowned upon? I'll give you an example, right? Let me give you an example. I want to see the movie Cocaine Bear. I don't know why I want to see it, but everybody I hang around with says it's stupid, right? Like, that's stupid. Who's going to see that? And I go, yeah, who wants to see that stupid movie? I do. Do you have something like that in your life?
Yeah. I don't know.
If you don't,
I don't know. I really do everything. I don't care what anybody thinks, really. But Cocaine Bear, I watched it.
How was it?
I fell asleep during it, but I mean, it's a goofy movie. But I mean, it was late night, so it wasn't because the movie sucked. It was late night, but it's a goofy movie, and it's with those guys. It's with characters like the ones you see on Facebook or TikTok, and you're like, man, this dude is hilarious.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Now they show up and you're like, all right, cool, because again, it's a bunch of goofy ass people.
Oh man, that's freaking okay. Now I'm gonna go see it. You hear that? Big Mike has inspired me to stand up for myself. I don't care what you haters say. I'm gonna go see the movie. Anyway, but getting on to other stuff, are you happy with the off season so far? Everything going golden for the Browns, or
you know what? I'm very happy. I think they did a lot of stuff that they needed to address. We needed a big boy. We call him, what do we call him? We call him fat boy professionals. That's what I got off my man I did a podcast with, fat boy professionals. We needed someone to stuff that middle, stop the run, and put pressure up the middle.
Yes.
And we got that in Tomlinson, right?
Tomlinson, yes.
We need another edge on the other side of Garrett. We got Obi from the Texans, and he's proven that he can be that man, especially now because the pressure is going to be off him and they're going to try to get Garrett. He'll be hitting that quarterback over and over.
Pressure breaks diamonds, man. Pressure breaks diamonds.
There it is. We went and got a safety.
Right. That was my big one. Yeah,
Thornhill. And I like him. Again, you look at his stats. My biggest thing was he plays every game except for when he got hurt that one year. Every game. And he makes tackles. He's not a guy that goes after the ball. He's not trying to get the interception. He's not trying to make the big play. He wants to tackle that man if he gets the ball in his hands. And as Browns fans know, John III didn't know how to do any of that. And then Delpit decided to be like, oh, he's doing this, so I can do it too and blow coverages. Well, now you got someone that's proven to win 2 Super Bowls, and hopefully Delpit learns after him instead.
Oh. That's pretty good. I like that. The big one I circled on my little paper here is Juan Thornhill. I felt like that was like the big get as far as like outside looking in. I said, well, that's a winning move right there. The draft it looks interesting. You got compensatory picks. It's hard to say for whatever reason, and you don't pick to the 3rd round. Is that what I see? Are you guys?
All right.
Yeah.
So let's take a step back real quick. There's one other move he made.
Okay.
The Elijah Moore trade.
Uh-huh.
Now, some people were up in arms. We gave up a second. Go get him. But what we got back was him, who's a proven route runner, who can speed demon, and he catches the ball. He has hands. He's not going to drop the ball.
No.
And we got back a 3rd with it. So now you're right. We don't have a pick till the 3rd, but we got 2 of them. Then in the 4th, we got 2 of them. Then in the 5th, we got 2 of them. So now we could either take all that and move back up, or what I would like to do is go after DeForest Buckner.
I like that. I think you should go after him. That would be an interesting one. It appears the Colts might be in rebuild mode anyway, so you might, hey bud, let's try to get you somewhere. Might be a good idea. But yeah, I agree with Elijah Moore. Too many times do we have fan bases, not just yours, not just mine, but all around the league. Oh man, I can't believe they gave up. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. Okay, look, if this guy is somebody that can take the top off of defense, then that's your second round pick, and you should be happy about it.
And there's no wide receiver that's going to fall to the second round that's going to do that.
No, of course
they're not proven yet, and they're a rookie, so I'm okay with Elijah Moore. He's young. He's worth the money right now. And again, he can catch the ball and he can take the top off the defense, like you were just saying.
Right.
So
love to put that man.
Cooper, shit.
I love to put that man in a post route every single time I could.
There we go.
That's why I would do it every single time I could. Okay. When we go through the Brown stuff, and I don't want to bring up this whole. I'm just going to skip over the whole Deshaun Watson thing, because that is news that has been hit, chewed up, spit out, cut up, reserved, heat up again, blah 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 blah, or whatever.
Beating a dead horse.
Yes, very much so. I got so tired. I was like, can I look for something else? And but that's what I tried to do when I tried to research for this show. Everyone has got to be staying away for the legal reasons. But how could this not be Deshaun Watson revenge tour time? How could it not be?
I mean, like, you got to look at it. In 2020, the man took over the game.
He did.
And he had nobody. Bernard Hopkins got traded. J.J. Watt was gone. He had no weapons, nothing. And he did exactly what you want in a quarterback to do. And we're talking about MVP caliber quarterback. And then, of course, here it is. I want to be traded, or Texans don't want him to play. Yeah. This crap went off. That crap went off. So he sat, not for injury reasons. He sat because of this.
Right.
So it's not like, he lost some years, but he didn't lose because of injury. Now he was practicing and training the whole time. But again, this dude is ready. He is ready to get at this. And again, he's doing it with the Browns. I think that was a whole nother. See, people look at it like this. Oh, he went to the Browns. They gave him $230 million guaranteed. I don't think that's the only reason he came here.
Right.
He came here with what you said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants the Browns to succeed.
Yeah, we do. Why would nobody want to see? I can see why the Ravens and Steelers and Bengals wouldn't. But other than those three teams, you look down there and they have had such a hard time. And and just to see them go the distance would be just utterly incredible. How could you not root for it? That's my question.
Well, look at this. If Deshaun Watson leads us deep into the playoffs, even to a Super Bowl, you know what Cleveland does? They put that bronze statue out in front of the damn stadium. Yeah. Dude, he'll be immortalized. No matter what he did in his life, he could go wipe out a family of 5. God forbid it happens. He doesn't win the Super Bowl, they're putting a statue up. That's what's happening.
Right. Without question.
And again, I don't condone him wiping out nobody or doing any of that.
No. I got you.
You got to look at Ray Lewis. That dude was, looked like he murdered 2 people. He got a statue sitting outside, M&T Bank. Come on now.
Yep. Oh, Ray Lewis. We don't talk about Ray Lewis on this show. We don't talk about him. I completely agree. However, you do have 2 picks in the third, 2 picks in the fourth, or whatever. That's good depth picks right there. That's good linebacker picks, I think. Good defensive quarterback picks that people always throw that. And it's so funny because people will watch the first 2 rounds and click, all right, well, that's the draft. And I'm like, there is so much more here that you can get. I'm not saying they're going to start, but it's for all you know, your special teams ace is in there for all you know.
Listen, the meat of the draft, and this is what people, again, like you said, don't understand. The meat of the draft is really the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds. Because like you said, you could find, where is Russell Wilson drafted?
Oh, geez. 5th?
3rd round.
3rd? Yeah. Oh, I'm way off. Yeah, third round.
Hey, Tom Brady, the 7th. Antonio Brown, the 6th. You don't know what you're going to get in these rounds. This is the craziest stuff. You could find some real diamonds in the rough out there. And again, we got 2/3, 2/4, 2/5. So we could really put something together if we wanted to move up, if we saw something. I was just on a Whiskey Sports podcast. Did a draft with him, did my draft thing with him. Dude, the people that fell, I would love. I mean, you could find a good receiver in there. I like the linebacker out of Wisconsin, Nick Heidelberg. I mean, if I can get him in the third, I'll be happy as hell. If I can get Tyler Scott, the wide receiver from Cincy, I'll be happy as hell.
Good O-line help, too. Good O-line help, too.
And we're going to need that because, again, Wyatt Teller's making a lot of money. Soon might have to move on from him. And you got some O-line in there. Big boy Voorhees from USC. He could fall to the third. Well, I mean, I think he falls to the fourth. And there you go. You snap him up. I mean, in O-line, you don't need them big. What you want in an O-line is you want an offensive tackle usually high in the draft because those are the big boys.
Right.
But again, you could find that dude back there and put him over there. And Jedrick Wills, I mean, that dude's like a trash can waiting for a dog to hit him and he falls over. That dude is trash, straight dumpster fire over there. And anybody I feel like can do a better job than him.
Oh, yeah. No, I understand. Listen, I am very well aware of bad offensive line play, unfortunately. And I look at it. It's so funny you mentioned that because the person you just described sounds a lot like Dennis Daly, the worst left tackle in the league that about got Ryan Tannehill killed. Yeah. And it's amazing to me. Like, it was widely known how bad he was. And lo and behold, a 2-year deal with Arizona appears out of nowhere. And you have to ask yourself, what are y'all doing? Is Kyler Murray just looking for a death wish? Like, what are we doing? Does he like the adrenaline pumping? I don't get it. But yeah, no, it's interesting. Of course, the NFL offseason never disappoints. It hasn't disappointed. It's not disappointing. We got Rodgers that maybe could have, maybe would have, should have, could have, would have gone to the Jets, and you've got Sean Payton pretty much telling Russell Wilson like, "You're not bringing your trainers here, bro," and stuff like that. It's just crazy. But the teams that are getting better are like teams like the Browns that are just sticking to business and try to take care of the thing. I like to think my team's doing the same thing, but we're in so much cap trouble, I haven't even looked at it. But that is awesome. That is awesome, my bro. Do you think in the third round, those 2 third-round picks, your first one, O-lineman or linebacker? I think it's a linebacker.
I think one of those 2 picks is a linebacker. Like I said, that boy from Wisconsin, they say he's undersized. Problem is with that is TJ Watt came on. He was the same thing, undersized. Right. But it's the work ethic that they hold at Wisconsin. Like their offensive linemen and their defensive front 7, they're just, they just work nonstop. And that
boy-fed boys.
Yes. And he worked and worked. And you saw it. And I think he's going to be a huge piece. And I hope we can get him. But yeah, I think it's linebacker.
I feel the same looking at it and whatnot. And the other thing about the undersized thing, haven't we learned already that it doesn't matter? Like, it really doesn't. You got short cornerbacks covering guys and making interceptions, knocking the ball out. You've got linebackers that are short, picking people off and smacking them so hard they cry for their mama. And, of course they're undersized now. But once they get in there and they get their butts working up and down the field in July when it's stinking hot, we'll see how undersized they are after that. But, yeah, I wouldn't be undersized either. In fact, I'm oversized, but I would be well under probably the weight my doctor would like me to be at if I was working in training camp. So here's the other strange question of the day. What is something you got to have name brand of at the grocery store? My example is Pop-Tarts. I cannot have off-brand Pop-Tarts. It has to be Pop-Tarts. They're powder. Like, you get the greater value. It's powder.
It crumbles. They crumble.
They crumble so bad. I'm not saying Pop-Tarts don't crumble, but you really have to work at it to make them crumble.
Name brand, huh?
Yeah, something that you got to have name brand. Like, I like Dr. Pepper. I don't like Dr. Thunder. Something like that.
See, I don't drink pop. See, I can't even relate to that. I guess hot sauce, but hot sauce is always, there is no real great value version of that.
Oh, don't worry. There probably is.
You're right. There probably is.
You're gonna go to the store and go, "Oh man."
God, I'm not a real choosy person when it comes to all this, though.
Right.
That's the thing. I'm basic. I go in there, get some ramen noodles, get some
Mm.
tortillas,
Mm.
some lunch
Shredded
meat.
cheese, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and some chicken, stuff like that. Like I don't do a whole lot. It's just me. I mean, I got my 2 kids, but they live in Cleveland. I'm down by Cincinnati, so
Right. Oh,
I'm
God
actually
bless
not too
you,
far
sir.
from you.
Oh, God, sweet. Yeah, come on down to Nashville, Tennessee. Grab your fiddle, shoot your guns off in the air, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, well, see, I got family that live down there in Pigeon Forge. So
Oh, yeah, do you? Oh, it's beautiful over there.
Oh,
Oh,
it is.
stunningly beautiful. I always get jealous because, of course, I have family out east as well and friends. And they're always like, what a beautiful day in God's country. And I'm like, shut up. Shut up. I'm going to work. But, yeah. Yeah, I always ask these kind of strange questions too. If they say, I'll give you
I
another.
like that. I enjoy them. I mean, I would, if I had to really pick, I guess the Pop-Tart thing is real relevant because you're right. They just crumble and they're nothing there.
It's powder.
It is, and it tastes chalky. And
for some reason, they just can't. You can't. It's got to be Pop-Tarts or nothing when it comes.
Yeah,
to
it would have to be straight Kellogg's. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you another one. First car you ever owned?
Ford Taurus, 1991.
Oh, my wife's first car she owned was a Blazer, but I think the second one was a Ford Taurus. I owned a 1986 Buick LeSabre. Thing was a tank. It would, if I ran into anybody, they would die. I would live. That's just why my parents gave it to you. My sister had it, I had it, and my little brother had it, and then he wrecked it, and that was it.
No, that was the end of that.
Sometimes I think about that car, though. You're like, man. Anyway, so going on to whatever else, we'll look around to other stuff and whatnot. How do you feel about your division this year?
Well, you got Cincy. Cincy is wow. They're just
Joe Cool is a dangerous man,
and there's so much chemistry. Like the receivers, they all change. Like 2 of them change their numbers just so they can stand next to each other and be 513. The area code down here in Cincy.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, so they're really buying into all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they lost some people on defense. Jesse Bates.
They did.
Bell. I think that hurts them, even though they got that young safety they drafted last year. Their offensive line, I feel like they just keep getting hurt. I think that's another piece. I mean, but I really like Cincy, and I love how they play. I think Joey Cool needs to learn how to throw the ball away and stop trying to make a play every down. But besides that, Cincy's strong. They really are.
They are. They flex.
They are. Baltimore looks like they're in shambles.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
Lamar's news, he's gone. Listen, him and Aaron Rodgers are on different teams by the draft.
Right.
And everyone's saying, oh, well, Lamar this, Lamar that. I'm like, listen, it's between 2 teams in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Colts are number 1 in it.
Yeah.
But my dark horse here, I like the Falcons.
I agree. Why wouldn't you? Like, why wouldn't you?
They got the money. Dude, they're 60, 70 over the cap.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, they have Ritter, who's young, came from Cincy, and has the same mentality of what Lamar does. So you bring Lamar in there, give him the money, and let Ritter learn from him. That way when Lamar's gone and you trade him before his contract's over or whatever, Ritter can step right up in and play the game.
It always it makes perfect sense what you're saying. But I agree with you. It's got to be the Falcons. And Murray 78 says so. Yeah. Ooh, the Falcons. Yeah. No, it's got to be the Falcons. But
I love that look because again they have good key pieces. You got Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts, you have some run game there. Cordell Patterson's there. That defense is starting to beef up. I really like the Falcons if Lamar goes there. Like they would be one of those teams you'd be like, oh man, what are they going to do here? Because now you got no Tom Brady in Tampa. Carolina's still young and they're trying to move pieces around, and the Saints look like straight trash. So the Falcons could come out of that division and actually make noise if they had a proven
Yes.
leader.
All you have to win is like 9 games. You don't have to win an exorbitant amount of games to get. You just got to get there. You just got to get there because Tampa Bay's done. Probably they're not going to come out of there.
They got Baker there now, so I mean, what do you?
Oh goodness gracious! Who's going to grab a crotch at now? I guess. So you got that, and Carolina is Lord knows what Frank Reich's going to do.
They look like CJ Stroud may be going there.
It's got to be. If it's not CJ Stroud, I will be very shocked.
I don't understand the Bryce Young hype. I get it; he's talented, but I think CJ, the bigger, taller, same athleticism as Bryce. Throw the ball on a dime. And to be honest, CJ doesn't want to run. Mm-hmm. But when he does run, he can run.
Yes, he can. Yeah. So, very reminiscent of one Patrick Mahomes, who can run and who can throw. I'll be honest with you, Big Mike. And some people, especially the people who have teams who are picking lower, I don't like any of these quarterbacks. I am not wild about it. I'm just not.
I think they're all spaced out. Yeah, there's not like I've seen mock drafts that I've done where Bryce Young falls all the way to the 20s.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. I mean, everybody says, well, Will Levis. I'm like, why? Because he's got an arm. He played for a crap team. He really didn't do anything. He's just got an arm. And yes, he can throw, but again, dude, Tim Couch, but God, what am I trying to, I don't know what, Tim Tebow had an arm.
He sure
but
did.
Guess what? He was trash. I mean, he was used for his other abilities. Anthony Richardson. Where did this dude come from? Because he's a Lamar status type guy? I don't think he can be Lamar because Lamar was special. So
yes, it's 100% right. And look, I grow up here. I watch it. It's SEC country down here, obviously, and I'm down here, and I got a good look at all of these guys, and I really don't see what the big deal is. I really don't.
I'll tell you right now, Hendon Hooker. Watch. He will get drafted to a team. He will come up somewhere.
Second round somewhere. Yeah.
That boy could start because you don't need to be all this crazy talented dude.
You just got to be smart.
Game manager, know the playbook, and have good talent around you. That boy can lead anybody to the Super Bowl.
I am 100% with you, and I have to be careful because I have to separate my Vols fandom, out of it. But I agree. To me, it's kind of him and Stroud are the two guys. Yes. But I look at that, and if you're after a quarterback, though, like if everything goes terrible for my team, and it probably will, I look at the 2024 quarterback class more than anything. You got May in North Carolina, and
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams. There he is. Yeah, there's the other one. And I just kind of look at that, and I'm thinking, well, that's the class that you want to draft from. But yeah, I agree.
The dark horse in that one is I can't think of his name. Sam. He just went to Notre Dame. He left Wake Forest. Was it McDowell? No, not McDowell.
No, I'm going to look it up right now because I know who you're talking.
I don't want to say Howell for some reason, but I don't think that's it either. But he just went to Notre Dame, and I think he could have a hell of a season at Notre Dame.
Sam Hartman.
Yes, Hartman. He could have a hell of a season at Notre Dame, and he can come out of nowhere. The boy could play everywhere. He can do everything. He's good, and I think he could be the dark horse in that draft.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And it wouldn't surprise me if he is, or somebody does a scouting job on him or whatnot. So when you look at these things, and I, the whole Lamar Jackson thing has got everyone just all over the place. I kind of saw him at a Seahawks jersey at one time, but now they're paying Geno Smith $105 million. By the way, how bad is it in quarterback land when you're paying Geno Smith $105 million? Like that's bad.
That just proves that when you put talent around an average guy, he could look like he's a superstar.
Average. And average. Guy. God bless it. Look, more power to him. He looked good. He did everything he could. Like, you know what I'm saying? But he's still Geno Smith. Nothing's, really like crazy change other than he's not punching guys in the locker room.
Well, how I look at it is he's Geno Smith from West Virginia now.
Right.
That's what he's at because he's got the two receivers. He's got the tight end.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really have to be mobile anymore. So
Never really thought of it that way, but you're right. Yeah, no, you're right. You're smart, Big Mike. Look at you, full of ideas. Just big brain on that guy. But yeah, and then you're kind of going through like, but I'm just looking at like the quarterbacks making this money now, right? You know, you're like Derek Carr. I would never in a million years think that Derek Carr was going to be the top of the free agent quarterback list, you know, to go get. And he goes to the Saints and makes $100 million. And then you get Jimmy G, who's been to what, 1, 2, 3 NFC championship games, and he's getting paid 65 by the Raiders. Just
You know what's funny? Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about Dak?
I feel like he's a lot like Ryan Tannehill, right? He gets you through the season, then you get in the playoffs, and he has trouble.
Well, that's any Cowboys quarterback.
All
right, talent-wise. Do you think he's worth the money, though?
No, I don't.
No. You want to know a fun fact? Look at his stats and look at Derek Carr's stats. Identical.
No, are you serious?
Straight identical. Oh. I mean, they're off a few percentage points here, some yards here, but God, I'm talking about damn near identical. Oh, and everybody was out on Carr. Oh, he's trash. Throw him in the can, blah, blah. But then everybody else is like, well, look at Dak. No, I'm not looking at Dak. What I'm looking at is what he's got there. He had number one defense type stuff there.
Yeah. No,
that defense was killer.
Nobody had stopped Brock Purdy all year. Nobody had stopped him. And then they came in there and they were putting the hurt on him. That kid was running for his life. And
it was about that defense all year long. I mean, you have CeeDee Lamb, you have Tony Pollard. God, I can't think of the tight end. Oh, man.
There's Dalton Schultz.
I mean,
it is utterly bizarre. I watched that game and I was like, the Cowboys are going to win this sucker. They've got him. And then he starts throwing interceptions, and they're bad interceptions too. They're not like, oh, it tipped out of the guy's hand or it was a 50-50 ball. No, he threw it right at him. And I just sat here. Oh, and then I don't know if anybody noticed this, but like the Cowboys like official Twitter had come out and said like Dak lost the game or something like that. And I was just like, okay, like, yeah, all right, wow, throw him under the bus, why don't you?
Now they're starting to realize it.
Oh, yeah. That guy, Dak, is such a conundrum to me. But I think I look around too, and I always also get this point. There's not a lot out there as far as quarterback. There just isn't. And, you know, that's just where we are, I think. They've just they're going to ride the horse because that's the only horse that.
Well, yeah, and that's what they got to do right now. But I mean, again, it wouldn't matter, again, if it was Derek Carr in a situation or Dak Prescott. It's the same damn QB.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's crazy. I was always fascinated with Derek Carr because I've never seen somebody start out so strong through 6 games. And then he just, like, it's like watching the stock market. He just plummets, and I don't understand it. But anyway.
Like running the mile. He goes so fast, so quick, and he comes out of breath.
Right, because I mean, you could literally watch like 300 yards, 300 yards, 300, 175, 2 interceptions, and just down he goes. Okay, let's see. What else other hot topics here do we have here in our lovely, lovely guest, Big Mike? Let's see. Do you feel? How do you feel about Josh Allen's performance in that playoff game?
Man, I feel his performance overall was trash all year long.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's another look at the defense carrying a team in retrospect.
Yeah.
I mean, when Von Miller went down, that team went down. It's crazy how the whole team started to fold when he went down.
Yeah.
It was like there was games they should have won, and no, didn't do it. I mean, their running game looked like trash. Josh was trying to make too many plays and was throwing too many interceptions. He was forcing things that weren't there. And he was trying to do too much. He needed to sit back and evaluate everything and then just, all right, this is what I got to do, not force every single moment of every single game.
Right. It's all on me. I've got to play hero ball. Yeah. The big thing to me, this is thing, because Bills fans argue constantly that they can run the ball. I have not seen them run the ball effectively ever.
Well, they had like 5 running backs they were using, and that's another problem. I mean, Devin Singletary's finally gone, so now they can start minimizing it and go, hey, Zach Moss, all right, whoever they're going to use or what they're going to do, draft somebody.
Name a starter. Name a starter. Just do it.
And stay with it. Even if you're going to do a two running back thing, you got to make sure they're not all the same type of running back. All them guys were the same exact thing. Like, you can't do that.
No,
you can't have the finesse flash. You need a downhill smash your mouth runner and then a finesse flash guy. And they didn't have that.
And now look at this. Stephon Diggs takes off all the Bill stuff off his social media, and I was like, here we go again. It's happening all over again. I just kind of felt like watching that. Like, if you're going to sit there and all the national media and all the big talking heads on ESPN have been gaslighting guys like you and me, telling Josh, it is such an honor to watch Josh Allen play football and blah, blah, blah. And then he goes out there and lays an egg. And what did we hear? Crickets. Not one criticism, not one thing. Oh, it came from probably a few guys here and there, but it was quickly passed over. Like, yeah, he played back in there. Anyway, next on, I just kind of think it's a little unfair that if you're going to pump a guy up all season, you should be able to say, yeah, you know what? It was a bad game. He played poorly. Just say it. Just say it. You'll feel better. You'll feel better as a person.
They need to stop sugarcoating everything, especially with these guys.
Oh, I know.
Like, if Pat Mahomes goes out there and, trashes it up, all right, cool. Call him out on his shit. Don't, okay, well, it's this or this is no, he sucked. That's what he did this game. He sucked.
This is football. They got
to him. That's what happened.
Right. They got to him. They beat. I think 2 years ago, I thought we were going to die this game. We whooped them 27-3, and they just clobbered him. And the whole story was not about how good the Titans defense was, but what's wrong with Patrick? And I was like, can we just get the credit just one time? Just give me the credit just one time. But it's neither here or there. This is
half credit and say, oh, that Titans defense pumped up and was ready to roll and they did their job.
Right.
Something looks odd about Pat. All right, cool. At least you gave something to somebody.
Right.
Pat looks dirty, looks dysfunctional.
And then what the headline the next day? Distrust in Kansas City, big borderlines like they always do. Let's see here. I haven't really seen a lot motives today, so I'll ask you this: who do you think, when you play the Ravens for the first time, who is going to be in that purple ugly jersey across from you?
Who's going to be the quarterback?
Yeah. Because if it ain't Lamar, Huntley, you think they just ride it out with him and let the dice fall?
Yes, and I think that's why they did what they did last year. They kept pumping him and letting him go. And look, I mean, he was in a Pro Bowl, even though granted it was because other guys were sitting, but he has an arm. He can play the game.
Mm-hmm.
The dude can do it. Again, he can sit back and manage the game. He needs pieces, which they're trying to get him. Now it looks like OBJ may sign there, which I think that would be a horrible thing for him to do. Horrible for him personally, and I think that team, because there's enough dysfunction there right now. You don't need more drama. But I think it's Huntley.
I agree. I think it's Huntley as well. I think and also you tell Huntley at the beginning of the offseason, hey, you're the guy. There ain't nobody else. You're the guy.
No question in mind. Make sure he knows it. That way he isn't worried about looking over his shoulder the whole summer, training camp, mini camp, all that. And he knows, hey, I got this job. I'm going to continue doing my job, continue being me. Not, all right, I got to outperform. I got to amp it up more. And then he gets hurt because he's trying to push himself more, or he's worried about everything. His anxiety kicks in and he just throws it all in the trash. You don't want that.
No. How do you survive in Cincinnati, sir? I just, oh man.
Well, what's funny is you wouldn't think anything about it, but there's a lot more Browns fans down here than people realize.
Really?
The bar that I go to, I don't drink anymore, but the bar I go to anyways, he's actually from around the area I'm from, up in Cleveland. Like, he's a Cleveland Browns fan. Their general manager, the head cook there, he's a Browns fan. One of their other cooks there, he's a big Browns fan. Like, there's Browns fans all around here. And it's the craziest thing. But a lot of these Cincy fans, say the Browns are going to go, and they're going to go with the Browns.
Right.
They're not going with anybody else. They're going with the Browns.
Right.
But yeah, it's not like one of my best friends. He's a big Cincy fan. That's who I do the podcast with, my boy Jay.
Yeah.
Big Cincy fan. I mean, he crossed over from the Reds, came to the Guardian side now because he's like, man, these Reds are never going to get it together. Came over. But he's a big Cavs fan. He goes to Cleveland and watch the Cavs.
Oh.
But again, this is, how it works down here. It's, I get no hate. I wear my Cleveland stuff everywhere. It don't matter.
Well, that's awesome. They have a great ice cream shop there. I went to a Reds game. I'm a Guardians fan.
Oh, nice. All right.
Indians fan. So I got to go to my first baseball game, and it was at the Cincinnati Reds, the All-American Park or whatever it's called there. Beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely loved it. Had a great time, especially because my in-laws were all Reds fans, and the Guardians swept them in the 2-game series.
Hell yeah.
I was very happy. But there is an ice cream shop up on the square there by that fountain, and it is absolutely their big specialty is a black cherry ice cream or something like that.
All right.
But I flippin' love it, and I will get it every single time I go up there. But yeah, I can't remember. It's like Brownstone, Brownsburg, something like that. But they have like the brass stools and the footrest and everything like that. I don't know. Something small for me. Well, that's cool that you can wear that stuff around here. Everybody, I think, for the most part, they always like putting those primetime games. It is the Browns versus the Bengals, Bengals at Browns, Browns at Bengals kind of thing. And I do indeed watch it because those games usually end up being kind of fun and slobber knockers and everything like that. But especially when you look at like the history of the Browns and Bengals, how close they kind of are with
Paul Brown and how he moved down here, did all that.
The helmets even like that resemble the, and stuff like that. And I find that just highly intriguing. Murray says it's called greeters, I think is what he said.
Oh, yes. I'd always talk about graders or greeters, yes.
I think he's right. But their ice cream is delicious, and I love it. What you got coming up on your show there, Big Mike?
Next Monday, we'll do a follow-up of the Final Four. Me, Jay, and our boy D. We'll talk football more. We'll talk more of the championship game that night. Do our thing with that. That's Monday night. Depends. It's usually around 6:30. The Man Cave podcast. The Man Cave is what we call it. Then we got, again, Relax Wednesday next Wednesday. Again, it's just a nice chill talk about like this, like we just did earlier. It was guns and butter.
Yeah.
It's literally about how you feel about gun rights, gun laws,
Sure.
medical marijuana cards, stuff like that. Should somebody own 500 guns? How old should you be to get an AR-15? Stuff like that.
Yeah, especially after that tragedy they had in my town here, and it has really gotten under people's skin, and I just sit here and I stare at everybody that goes through this, and I say the same thing if we could just realize that we're going to have differences on this, but arguing with each other is not going to solve anything.
No,
and it won't. But people do it every time because that's the kind of society we live in at the moment. But I hope that we can learn from this tragedy like we always should after all the tragedies that have happened. And we learn that the things that unite us are better than the things that divide us.
It's us. Listen, us as people.
U.S.
Need to unite us.
Right.
We can't. Nothing else is going to. The damn government ain't going to.
Nope.
Forget all that. It's me, you, him, her. That's how we unite, and that's how we stay together. Screw the rest of this crap. Because, again, CNN ain't going to unite you. Fox News, MSNBC. No. All that shit crash. It's us as people that live here that'll unite.
Testify. I totally agree. That's all I got for tonight, Big Mike. I feel like I could share a beer with you, but you don't drink, so you can have ginger ale and I'll have a Miller.
Hey, listen. Hey, if we ever meet up, I'll have a drink with you.
Oh, I'm coming up there. I'll
have a drink with you when you come up, just because, again, I do it every once in a while. Again,
sure.
Something I try to, I don't want to drink, but I'll drink one with you.
Unless you know how to break down defense. I accidentally clicked on that. That's my fault. I don't know.
I was going to say, what are we talking about?
I don't know. Yeah, what do you mean? Anyway, this has been Mr. First Down on the Fanboy Unleashed. My guest, Big Mike. Check him out on his podcast. I most certainly will. And we will see y'all later. Have a happy rest of your Wednesday night and a glorious Thursday.